Good morning, everyone. Welcome to City Hall, welcome to Council Chambers, and welcome to a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for today, Wednesday, October 1st, 2003. City Council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. We're as close to it as we can achieve a quorum. Meetings are open to the public, and we do invite you to join us. For members of the public unable to attend council meetings, we can be viewed live on your cable station, Channel 35. We can also be viewed live via webcast from the city's homepage or heard via council phone. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Cardenas, Garcetti, Gruel, Hahn, Labange, Ludlow, Misikowski, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Smith, Villaraigosa, Weisstein, Padilla. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The council is officially in session. First order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Ludlow moves. Mr. Weiss seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Villaraigosa moves and Ms. Hahn seconds.
Before beginning the regular agenda, there are several items that have been requested to be continued. Item number 6, the applicant consents to a continuance to November 25th.
Colleagues request to continue item number 6. Is there any objection? Seeing none, item 6 is continued.
And also request to continue item number 7, the applicant consents to a continuance to October 3rd.
Colleagues request to continue item number 7. Mr. Ludlow? Okay, on item number 7, without objection, item 7 is continued.
On the regular agenda, items noticed for public hearings, items 1 through 5 are building and safety assessments. There's a request on item number 5 from Building and Safety to receive and file that matter inasmuch as the assessment has been paid.
Okay, that's on item number 1. I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council. We shall deem the public hearing open and closed. Colleagues, we have a recommendation from the department to receive and file this matter. Is there any discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, item 1 is received and filed. Next
That
item,
was item number 5 that was received and filed.
excuse me, item number 5.
And on the balance of those, that's items 1 through 4, which are
And,
building and
again,
safety assessments.
With public hearings open and closed, are there members wishing to call any items special, items 1 through 4? 1 through 4. Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item, please.
Items, next items are item number, 8, which is a public convenience or necessity in Council District 4, and I believe the recommendation on the agenda is to grant the application. A motion is required.
Okay, is Mr. Labange here? Let's hold this item on the desk as we await Mr. Labange's arrival.
I believe Mr. Labange is excused. Do you wish to continue that matter?
Is he expected on Friday?
Yes, he will be.
Okay, let's continue the matter without objection to Friday. That is item number 8. Mr. Parks?
Yes, Mr. Chair, could I get a reconsideration on number 1? We have a community person here to make public comment.
Okay, we do need a card for public comment. Colleagues, without objection, will reconsider item number 1 and hold it on the desk for public comment. Next items, please.
Next item, Mr. President, items for which public hearings have been held, items 9 through 18.
Mr. President, I'd like to
Ms.
call
Perry.
item 9 special.
Item 9. Okay, let me first remind everybody we have had public comment on items 9 through 18. A motion from the floor would be required to reopen the public hearing on any of these items. Members wishing to call any special, Ms. Perry calls item 9 special. Mr. Ludlow
Yes.
calls item 12 special. Mr. Villaraigosa.
Item 10, like to continue to Tuesday.
Okay, any objection, colleagues, to continuing item number 10 to Tuesday? That would be October 7th. Seeing none, item 10 is continued. Mr. Ludlow?
I was asking for 12 to be continued.
To be continued. For how long, Mr. Ludlow?
2 weeks.
For a 2-week continuance, that would be October 15th. Colleagues, without objection, item number 12 is also continued. Any other specials on items 9 through 18? Seeing none on the balance of the items, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
Next items are items for which public hearings have not been held, items 19 through 23. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Without objection, items 19 through 23 shall be considered by the City Council today, and I do not have requests from members of the public to address the Council on these items. Therefore, we shall deem the public hearings open and closed. Members wishing to call any of these items special. Items 19 through 23. Seeing none, let's open the roll.
Mr. President, I believe Mr. Ludlow wanted to have item number 21 referred to Arts, Parks.
Mr.
Thank you,
Ludlow.
Madam Clerk. That's exactly what I want to do.
Item 21 to refer back to committee without objection. That item is so referred. And on items 19, 20, 22, and 23, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
The next items are the closed session items. Do you wish to hold those matters on the desk?
Let's hold all closed session items on the desk. And if that brings us to the back to the items called special, let's take a pause and let me recognize Councilmember Garcetti for an introduction.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I wanted to ask Mr. West's class from Belmont High School. We've got a few people who've been here before, but colleagues, this is the first visit of almost all of these 12th graders to City Hall. I'd wonder if you guys would all stand up so we could recognize you, and thank you for coming down to City Hall. And we welcome you back many times. We hope this is not the last visit. We'll be giving you that guide to city services, so we're counting on you to help us out in the neighborhood. But thank you all for coming down. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Let's welcome the students and try to set a good example today. Next item, please.
Going back to the items called special, item number 1 was called special. I believe there are cards from the public.
We do have one card from Misty Scranton. Please come forward on item number 1. You can use the podium there at the center aisle. Colleagues, this is public comment on item number 1.
Good morning, members of the council. My name is Misty Scranton. I am the Deputy Director of Corridor Economic Development Corporation, and we are the Managing General Partner of Harvard Glen Mary LP. And Harvard Glen Mary is the entity that's developing the affordable housing project on this site. We would ask that the council consider waiving the 40% of the assessment. We have records that show that throughout the course of 1999 up and through 2002, we made concerted efforts to clean the site, board the site. Even after Building and Safety went out there, we had to go back out there and do their work. And we understand that Building and Safety incurred some costs, but please understand that we were fighting an uphill battle. We would go out there and have someone clean the site at a minimum of twice a week, mend the fence, board up the property, and we were simply fighting an uphill battle. Immediately, the work that we did was undone, and in fact, the work that Building and Safety did was immediately undone. So we had to go out there after Building and Safety. Like I said, we realized that they did incur costs, but we would ask that, you know, given the fact that we are putting in affordable housing for low-income seniors, we are removing blight in the area, that 40% be waived. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for being here. This concludes public comment for item number 1. Mr. Parks.
I'd like to ask city staff to come up and give us a chronology and an overview of how this property came to the city's attention and what were the reasons and the amount of work that was done by Building and Safety.
Good morning, Andy Harris for Building and Safety. This property was open, it was a hospital, and it was vandalized, and transients were going in and out for over a month before we barricaded it. What the lady stated was, in essence, a fact. They would clean it up, we would clean it up, we would barricade it, they would barricade it. Nothing was stopping anything until after the building was gone. The department did expend a lot of resources to barricade, clean, fence behind the owners on this property.
Could you tell us how this complaint initially came to the department's attention?
The complaints came from the neighbors as well as the council office.
Okay, and then did we have evidence during the time Building and Safety went out as to the efforts of the property owner?
We have a couple of notes in the file indicating that they were out there cleaning after our guys were already out there cleaning.
Okay. Was there any effort to go beyond just merely repairing the fence? Was there discussions about security guards or additional security that would stop this rampant vandalism?
Nothing along that line, no.
Okay. And when you say considerable expense, how much is the city expended for this?
$9,700 approximately.
Okay. And what was your assessment as to the cooperation with the owner?
It could have been a lot better.
With the sense that the owner of the owner of the property going out intermittently and the city going out, was that due to a lack of cooperation? Did you sense that we were repairing the same vandalism, or was there just delinquency on the part of the owner?
The owner's work crews didn't seem to get out there fast enough, and the city was having to move on it based on the complaints that we were receiving.
What was your assessment of the volume of complaints?
Not excessive, but quite a few.
but repetitive and consistent.
Constant.
Okay. Colleagues, this is something in which, in my judgment, we have expended these resources by the city agency. That is $9,000. It certainly, we commend the owner for the project that's going forward, but certainly believe that the city should be reimbursed. I believe a lot of this cost could have been reduced or eliminated had the owners been somewhat more cooperative and more communicative with us in order to take on that responsibility. But I think we had the ultimate responsibility because of the significant and consistent complaints by the community and the council office being bombarded with these same complaints, that we had no alternative except to use city services. So it would be my recommendation and move that we adopt item 1 on the full cost because of the city expenditure of funds.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Are there other members wishing to be heard on this item? If not, we have Mr. Parks' item before us. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Item number 9 was called special by Council Member Perry.
Ms. Perry.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I just rise today because I wanted to give some special recognition to this tremendous community resource. It's a jewel in the community, Lady Effie's Tea Parlor. This was the brainchild of Ms. Vonnie Gibson. The tea parlor was created when Ms. Gibson's Aunt Effie died and left her a beautiful East Adams Boulevard mansion to Ms. Gibson. Ms. Gibson wanted to do something special for her community, and in her aunt's memory, she created this marvelous community gathering place where people can relax and visit while enjoying tea and refreshments. Ms. Gibson and her husband, Melvin, have worked tirelessly to see that their special turn-of-the-century home is a welcoming and comfortable place to all who visit, and a great asset to the community at a time of life when many couples are contemplating retirement. I guess the Gibsons can't retire. They're too busy making friends at the tea parlor. And I just wanted to highlight this and to say to all of those who are watching on Channel 35, it's located at 453 East Adams Boulevard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Other members wishing to be heard on item number 9? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
This is the time for comments from the public on items not on council's agenda.
Okay, public comment period for today's meeting. The council calls forward Mr. Howard Watts.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have not seen me in a long time, but I want to tell you, the agenda that talked about a building at Harvard, ours is worse than that. We have an owner that has gone after us, and I'm, in fact, on trial. But because the courthouse was barricaded today when I went there, I want you to know that the owners of this building have tried to buy us out so that we would have to leave after 145 days of their telling us that we have to leave that building, and they want to tear the building down. I'm hoping the City Council takes action, and I hope Eric Garcetti is the one that takes the action to go after this owners. Every time we try to get a hold of these owners, they move their address someplace. What also happens is they are charging us for an extra tenant in our apartment building, in each apartment. They raised our rent because of that extra tenant. Now, I lived in this building for many, many years The only kind of tenants have ever slipped into this building and in my apartment have been roaches and other venom. Obviously, the city housing department is going to take this to the city in 2 days about this building. The guy that owns this building has been taking me and trying to force me out of the building. And then they want to tear the building down. They already made agreements for 8 of our residents to accept an agreement in money-wise. They wanted to give me $145,000. I said, go jump in the lake. I won't sign your agreement.
Sir,
and I will never sign an
conclude,
agreement with you. What we need to do is the city council tell them to get out of the city of LA and stop bothering other renters in other buildings like they have in ours.
Thank you very much.
For hearing it.
This concludes public comment for today's meeting. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Howard. I know we spoke earlier, and my staff has spent about 5 or 6 hours on this with you, and we will be in contact. I'm going to have my deputy come out to the building personally to look at that, and we'll make sure the housing department and city attorney are talking with each other to see if there's a case that may be brought as well. So thank you for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Mr. President, there was an item that was continued to Friday, and it's in Mr. Labange's district. I don't know if council would wish to reconsider that. It's a public convenience or necessity.
Let's do some housekeeping while we wait, Mr. Labange.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Motion shall be posted and referred.
There's an excuse on the desk. Councilmember Cardenas requests to be excused Wednesday, October 15th for city business that meets council policy.
Mr. Cardenas is excused.
And that would clear the desk for closed session.
Okay, we do have 2 closed session items on the desk. Why don't we give Mr. Labange a few minutes? We'll after closed session, we'll determine whether or not we reconsider item number 8. Ms. Hahn?
Can I make a request that we cancel the special meeting at 12:15?
Absolutely. Madam Clerk, is that all the notice we need to give?
Yes, that is all the notice.
Okay, so everyone watching at home and anyone anticipating coming in for a special meeting of the City Council today at 12:15, please be advised that special meeting is canceled. Anything else before going into closed session? Mr. Labange.
Yeah, Mr. President, I apologize for being late. Mr. Garcetti, I just wanted to wave behind you to all the great students from Belmont High School, one of the great high schools. You deserve a new high school, and I just wanted to salute you. I had my second best game at Belmont. I went to Marshall. Thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing further than in conformance with California law, the council will now adjourn into closed session. Sergeants, please clear the chambers. Session consideration of item number 25. Mr. Parks, Councilmember Parks did recuse himself, was not part of the closed session consideration of that, and is also not currently in council chambers. Next item, please.
Item number 25 is settlement in the case of Peter Mares by his guardian and versus City of Los Angeles, and that's a settlement in the amount of $1,791,241.21.
Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved as well. Forthwith, please. And let me recognize Mr. Labange at this time.
Thank you very much. This is item number 8. Not on the board yet. We just got to put it up on the board right there.
Mr. Labange.
This matter has been reviewed by...
It's a motion for reconsideration.
Oh, please move it.
Previously been continued. Let's open the roll on reconsideration of item number 8. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Item 8 is now back before us. Mr. Labange is...
Thank you, members. Thank you for holding this over. This has been reviewed by my office and Renee Weitzer, my office, and it has worked to an agreement, so I ask your approval. All conditions have been set forth. Thank you.
A motion to approve item number 8. Any further discussion? Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
And that clears the desk, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, are there any announcements today? Any announcements? If there are no announcements, do we have adjourning motions? Mr. Labange for an announcement.
Today is the first day of the 10th month of the year. I want to make that official.
It wasn't official until now, but Mr. Labange, thank you for bringing us to October 1st. Please rise for adjourning motions. Adjourning tributes, Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I ask colleagues today that we adjourn in the memory of Jeff Saldivar, longtime community and city activist who passed away unexpectedly last week, probably due to a heart attack, but we're not sure still. He was found dead in his home. Jeff and I got to know each other during my own campaign for City Council. He was one of the original candidates for the 13th Council District following his activism in the Virgil Village area of East Hollywood, a tireless advocate for parks, for social justice, for clean streets, for neighborhood beautification. Jeff was one of those folks that we all have in our neighborhoods who literally went door to organize, to talk to people, who everybody went to when they had issues, and who people looked to for leadership. He was active in the Democratic Party here, was on the Central Committee, and was elected a number of times to the Central Committee. He was a substitute teacher at LAUSD for many years and really imparted a lot of wisdom and government knowledge to the young people that he taught. He had to drop out of the race for City Council when his mother passed away and was nevertheless a constant fixture in many of the debates and many of the forums that we had, really pushing issues. He was somebody who cared deeply about East Hollywood, cared deeply about this city, and was taken away at way too young an age, in his early 50s, and we'll get the details to the clerk. But I know that many of us were just horrified to hear the news that he had passed on, he doesn't really have any family that survives him. He has an uncle who's coming in from England, as I understand, and we will be coordinating with them any details around a funeral and anything to be done in Jeff's honor. But I ask all of you today that we adjourn in his memory.
Mr. Labange.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. I wanted to add to that as well, because he also organized first the Rampart Rangers, which was a community organization which really took off in the area of the central part of the west part of the city there, and got City College involved in community, because prior to that time, City College wasn't as involved. Worked closely with our Public Works Department to make sure our street lighting yard that was in his neighborhood was proper, and helped in the efforts to restore the Cahuenga Branch Library on Santa Monica Boulevard. Countless things that this person did, Jeff Saldivar, that made a difference. And you always saw him at the meetings, and you always saw him encouraging others and empowerment. This is what's a great thing about Jeff, empowering others. Sometimes some neighborhoods, there's one leader of a neighborhood who likes to be the leader, but he was a leader who always shared with others to push them forth and to empower them. So I'm so sad to learn of his news, and God bless the memory of Jeff Salazar. And additionally, You want to say something about Jeff there? Yeah. I wanted to talk to you about somebody else who was special. Yeah.
Say a few words about Mr. Saldivar, and I'm going to ask or recommend, I'd like to add my name, but I think it would be nice if we all put our names.
All members.
Because I know that many of us in running for public office have gone before the county committee, and yes, we knew Jeff, and probably some better than others, but to give recognition to someone who was a long-standing member of the group, which is a very strong grassroots, very active, dynamic, wild political group, but a group that helped so many of us get to where we are. I think it would be nice if we all put our names on it and gave him some recognition.
Be all members.
Thanks.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
Yes, hearing this news is a great surprise. I've known Jeff for 10 years now, and I can tell you that when I first ran for the State Assembly, that sense of community pride and participation was prevalent even back then. He was taking back his neighborhood, essentially, gotten the neighbors there to take on the gangs in the neighborhood around LACC, and we'll miss him dearly.
Other comments about Jeff? Back to Mr. Labange.
Yeah, thank you, members. I attended a memorial this morning for Thomas Cho. He was 77 years old, and he was a wonderful man. He was born in Seoul, Korea in 1927 and came to this country, I believe, in 1958. And he had a family of 2 sons and 2 daughters, already grown. But Thomas would hike every day in Griffith Park, and you would see him in the morning, and he taught me much of the Korean that I know. But he also bridged out to invite other Korean-American hikers to join with us in the park at various celebrations. Just on the 20th of September, I believe was the Saturday, the 21st, he joined with us and hiked all the way at 77 years old to the top of Mount Hollywood and the party, and was there. He had a heart attack last Thursday, and the paramedics came, but unfortunately he passed the next day. And it's just a wonderful spirit, what we see in our city, of people engaging. And it was interesting because in this world of ours, you know, not all of us speak the same language, but all of us really speak the same thoughts when we love each other or when we love people. And Thomas truly loved people and was able to bridge that. And I just wanted to ask that we adjourn in memory of Thomas Cho, a great citizen of Los Angeles, native of Seoul, Korea.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Ms. Mizikowski.
I'm going to ask the council to adjourn in the memory of a young man, 10 years old, 6th grader at Paul Revere Middle School, who was involved in a horribly tragic and fatal accident Friday afternoon, school letting out, 3 o'clock, when he was hit by a car crossing Sunset Boulevard at Allenford. Now, unfortunately, he was running across the street when Sunset had a green light. And he got midway, was sort of protected by somebody who was making a left turn who stopped, but then he ran to catch the bus to join his sister, who was staying late at school off at Pali High, because they traveled together. Normally she came to pick him up, so he was taking this experience. He is survived by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Juan Macario, and 2 siblings. He was a good kid, a good student, just starting middle school. And I know that we've done an awful lot of discussion here about making our schools safer, the need to elevate safety at schools with vehicles. The school, the police department, the Department of Transportation, everyone is now meeting with parents as well as my office about what more we can do, including education, including just reinforcing as much as we can for everyone involved in and around our schools the delicate situation, but the important situation of ensuring safety for our students. So I ask council to adjourn in the memory of Carlos Anthony Macario.
Thank you. Other tributes? Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say, Ms. Mizikowski, that's an extraordinarily tragic story. I mean, I travel through that intersection all the time, and I can just imagine what happened, and I'm sorry to hear that. I also ask that you join me in adjourning today in memory of 2 other people. The first is Frances Stern, who was a longtime employee of the City of Los Angeles for over 39 years. She passed away on September 17. She began her city career with DWP in 1957, and then in 1971 she began with the Bureau of Engineering as a senior clerk typist and then as a secretary until she retired in November of 1996. She's survived by her cousin, Mr. Arnold Berman, of West Bloomfield, Michigan, and she will long be remembered for her dedication and loyalty to the city and the Bureau of Engineering. I'd also like you to join me in adjourning in memory of Dr. Drew Carlson, who was someone that my wife and I came to know when Leslie was pregnant with our first child, and we were told that there was some issue with respect to our baby's blood, and everything worked out all right. But at the time we got that news, we were very frightened, and we went to see Dr. Carlson at Cedars-Sinai. She was and remained a specialist in fetal medicine. Never forget the moment that she looked at the sonogram of Molly, and and Dr. Carlson just said, "Boring," and in that way that only a true genius, can, and looking at something that isn't boring to anybody else but to her. And for some reason, we felt reassured. Dr. Carlson was in her 40s when she died. She underwent a 7-year battle with breast cancer, and it's an enormous loss at Cedars-Sinai. I ask that you join me in adjourning in her memory.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Other tributes? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
We now join our scheduled